I wanted to go over this real quick because that's something that, I'm very familiar with. And it's the fix is actually pretty simple. So I think it's helpful to kind of understand what's going on first, though. So, number one, like, why does this happen? So when your back tightens up or anything tightens up, it's protective, right? So pain and tightness is protective. It prevents you from continuing to do things that your brain is perceiving as could cause possible injury. In this case, you're re-exposing yourself to squats. You haven't been squatting, you haven't moved in that way for a very long time, and you're beginning to add weight. Naturally, the brain freaks out. It's a stimulus it hasn't been exposed to for a little bit, and then things get tight. Not a big deal. So then we kind of address like, okay, well, what can I tell my brain? It's like a negotiation pretty much. It's like, I can negotiate with my brain by giving it what it's wanting. So then I get what I want, which is the release of that tightness. When you find out what particular thing it is, it's pretty fucking amazing that the tightness and the pain, it goes away instantly. Which is good, because if you think about it, you want that protection and that tightness. So when people have like, a common one is like, oh, my low back is tight. Okay, well, why is your low back tight? Almost always, it's a lack of movement coordination. They haven't been moving, so the brain's like, oh shit. Number two is their abs and their glutes are weak as fuck, or not been used. So what are all the coordination and the strength of the glutes and the abs? What is its main purpose? It's to provide stability to the spine, right? Super important. So if you think about it logically, like, oh shit, like I'm really glad that this thing is not gonna let go. Like, I don't want to bypass that. Instead, I want to go to the root of the problem, address those issues, and then immediately that tightness will go away. So the areas that are typically lacking, like I said, are abs, glutes, your coordination, and just an overall lack of movement, okay? So obviously, when your low back is tight, it's compensating for the abs and glutes as far as strength goes. Like, the low back has to get tight to provide the stability the abs and the glutes are supposed to be giving, and that pain prevents you from moving, right? So the pain is also making sure that you don't go and then do something where you could cause damage. Then it's coordination. So the coordination piece, I think, as I've, over my last 15 years, in my opinion, and what I've seen on myself and over the years with other people, is like, if you can't move coordinated, your shit's gonna be fucked up. You will have injuries and aches and pains and tightness that will not go away. So to me, that's always the number one thing. And the very simple answer to that is move with control. Like, don't let anything be sloppy. Don't let anything be not smooth, right? So like a simple thing of like me getting up from this position, I want it to be smooth and controlled. Or me getting into the bottom of this position, I want it to be smooth and controlled. Me doing a back squat, I want my back squat to be beautifully controlled. And thus, typically what happens is since we're chasing a number, that's just like our default, like a habit of people that work out. We prioritize that number over moving, let's say 135 with so much exquisite control, and then that's how we run into problems. Not that you're even doing that consciously, because obviously you're a smart guy, and it's just like a tendency that we have, and so we have to. It's very important to take that focus off of that and then bring it back to, I just want to move as gracefully and elegantly as possible. And then just the overall lack of movement. So, that's why the walking, man, like walking for me, I'm like, it's just so fucking good. Oh dude, and you're obviously blessed to have, your kids. like I love playing with my little nephews or nieces or my little cousins, because you're moving in ways that you normally don't move. Or like if you're just with adults, like adults aren't crawling around on the ground, right? Unless you're a member here at San Jose Barbell and I'm making you do it. But just moving more. It doesn't really matter what it is, but it's like light. It's not like, we're not trying to work out here. It's just movement, right? So I'm gonna go over these, and I'm gonna, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cut this video here because that's more of the explanation, and then I'm gonna show you kind of the fix and the things that I want you to be doing to speed up the release of these, of the low back, or you know, the pain and tightness that you're having.